Good morning. Welcome to Shawnee Mission Unitarian Universalist Church. Whoever you are, whomever you love, wherever you are on your life's journey, you are welcome. We are so happy that you have chosen this YouTube channel, this Sabbath, this sanctuary in time. We know that you have so many options on Sunday morning, and that you chose to be here is something that we celebrate. We extend an especially warm welcome to our visitors and anyone who may be watching our service online for the first time. If you like to follow along with the hymns using a hymnal and forgot to pick one up on your way in, please feel free to grab one from the carts near the entrance in a moment. We now invite everyone to rise and greet each other. If you're joining us online, say hi in the chat room. Okay, today we have just a few announcements. If everyone wants to take their seat. Dr. Jim Lacey. Sorry.
Good morning. I just want to remind our young adults that today we are having a pancake brunch following the service in room 18 just behind me. There will be pancakes, fruit, and sausage. I hope you can join us. This is a great way to meet other young people in our community. And now an announcement from Jim Christ.
Good morning. This is a save the date announcement. Remember last August we had a church-wide picnic? We're having another one. That makes it an annual church-wide picnic. So get out your phones or your calendars and mark Saturday, August 19th as the church picnic. There'll be more information coming out in this week's all-church email, and next week we'll have an online form where you can sign up to bring things, and we'll even have a manual paper form that you can sign up for. So mark the date.
Okay, and now Phil Hannon, do you have an announcement? Oh, okay.
So I've got to follow up on my stewardship announcements that I've been having for the last few weeks, and I'm pleased to say that we are still creeping towards our campaign goal, but we are still $28,000 short of that. So we have a board meeting on Tuesday to make final decisions on the budget. So if you have not yet pledged, or if you are thinking about potentially increasing your pledge, please do so before Tuesday if at all possible. In addition to that, I'd like just to point out that I had sent out a realm email regarding our participation in Interfaith Hospitality Network yesterday. So if everybody would take a look at that and see if you are able to respond with assistance in that area, that would be great as well. Thank you.
Each month, we as a community take time to reflect on a theme. The children do this in their classes, and we do it here in worship in our small groups. This month, the theme is delight. Delight finds us in small, unexpected moments and fills up our senses with bursts of joy, like the soft breeze that brushes my cheek on a perfect spring day, or the flutter of a hummingbird. There's a buoyancy to delight that has the power to lift us out of the dark places. Is delight a doorway to the divine? Are delight and divinity intertwined? Today we will explore how delight brings us into harmony with the divine as we reflect on our individual spiritual paths. The authors of the Soul Matters packet suggest exercises designed to enhance our experience on the topic. This month, they suggested that we build a basket of delights, secret moments of gratitude that we can carry inside us for when the road turns long and lonely, as it sometimes does. Some of the things in my basket are childhood memories, mock sword fights on the beach at our cabin, the green snake with the crooked tail that would visit us each spring. We called him Henry. Crackling autumn leaves underfoot in the woods, the excitement of a new puppy, the fresh scent of my house when it's newly clean, walking through the rooms and drinking in the colors and shapes, the pictures and objects, each with a story to tell, reminding me of the things I've done, the places I've been, the books that line the shelves, picking up that book I can't put down and getting lost in its pages. The vivid colors of sunset as I circle the small lake near my house, hearing a whir overhead as a black cloud of geese descends upon the water, looking up into the night sky and glimpsing the silver sliver of a new moon, the purr of the warm, furry creature that nestles within the crook of my arm, feeling my breath in tune with hers as the cares of the day melt away. We hope that our words today will remind you of the moments of delight that touch your lives and encourage you to fill your own basket as you travel on your own path to the divine. These words are translated from an ancient Hindu scripture. I have been listening to the hymns of creation, enchanted by the verses, yet still I am curious. What is this delight-filled universe into which we find ourselves born? What is this mysterious awareness shimmering everywhere within it? Come, let us worship. Please rise in body or spirit for hymn number 38, Morning Has Broken.
As Eliza comes forward to light her chalice, we invite you to join us as we recite our covenant. Let us affirm that love is the doctrine of this church, the quest for truth is its sacrament, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge and freedom, to serve humanity and fellowship, to the end that all souls shall grow into the harmony with the divine. Thus do we covenant with one another.
You guys can come a little closer. All right. Raise your hand if you've ever been swinging on a playground and someone gave you an underdog. Who can tell me what an underdog swing is? Yeah, when a grown-up pushes you and they run underneath you. In preparation for today, I also learned that some people call it underduck because as the adult running under, you need to duck because I've been hit in the face before by a child. When I was younger, I loved underdog swings. I loved swinging as high as I could. It brought me so much delight. Receiving an underdog is one of the best ways to reach the greatest heights and delight. Our theme this month, as was mentioned earlier, is delight. So I was reflecting on experiences that bring me and others delight, like an underdog swing. And I came up with a few more. Who likes bubbles? All right, there's so many of you that have a smile on your face. Even as adults, bubbles still bring you delight. And who has ever eaten the candy Pop Rocks? Yes, I brought some Pop Rocks with me today that I'll share with you in a little bit. But I gave my son Pop Rocks for the first time this weekend, and he couldn't wait to get home, so he opened them in the back of the car, he put them in his mouth, put them in, and then I just looked back there. I wasn't driving, I was being responsible. I looked back there, and he just got the biggest smile on his face. And we had been talking about delight, and he goes, "These are delightful." And so many things are delightful, as was just mentioned by Rebecca. I, too, was thinking about the hummingbird that comes into my yard, and how when I see it, I stop. Everything stops. I think about the dirty kitchen or things like that, and I'm just delighted by this creature. Can you all think of things in your life that are delightful? Yeah? Yeah, when friends help us, that is delightful. I was also thinking as a kid, riding your bike as fast as you can down a hill, or with no hands for the first time and not wrecking. Thinking about all these experiences that bring me delight got me thinking, well, what makes an experience a delightful one? And I think what makes it delightful is that there's also, after we experience delight, we have all these questions. There's a lot of wonder, like how high can I swing? If I jump out at the highest point, will I stick the landing? How do Pop Rocks work? Can I blow the biggest bubble? How fast can I race down this hill? And the more I reflected on the delight, the more I realized how appropriate this theme is for our church. Because Unitarian Universalism invites us to look at all our delightful experiences, even small ones, to learn from them and grow from them. Every experience, even the small ones like swinging on a playground, are an invitation to learn about ourselves and our world. UU isn't a religion where we have to turn to one person or one book to learn and grow. We can learn and grow through all of our experiences, even the small, simple ones about bubbles and why they bring us so much delight. So today I encourage you and you all to notice the small, delightful things that you experience each day. And what questions are they leading you to about yourself and about your connection to this world? All right, kids, let's grab some Pop Rocks and head to the makerspace. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Marie Bray, and I have the privilege of participating in this service along with my Soul Matters group. The theme for this Sunday is Delighting in the Divine. My husband Ed and I started attending SMUUCh the summer of 2018. We were looking for a new church, so we were checking you guys out. I thought the name SMUUCh was fun. And when I read the 7 principles of UU and learned more about this community, I really felt like I was at home. COVID complicated things, but I was able to take a Just the Basics course, and I was sold. I knew that I wanted to join, but because of COVID, it was easy to put off pursuing membership. My husband of 56 years passed away in October of 2020, and everything changes. Suddenly, I needed to reorganize my life. I joined a Soul Matters group. I began volunteering at the food pantry, and these activities added both comfort and purpose to my life. It took a while, but then on Wednesday, March 22nd of this year, with some encouragement from my Soul Matters group, I made it official. I became a member of this church, which means that I have entered into a covenant relationship with all the other members of this congregation. The covenant was easy for me to agree to. Love is the doctrine of this church. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge and freedom, to serve humanity and fellowship. All these things were so easy to say yes to. Only one line of the covenant puzzled me. To the end, that all may grow into harmony with the divine. This seemed to indicate to me that the purpose of the covenant for all of us, you and me and everyone, was to grow into harmony with the divine. So what does the word divine mean? I believe we all have our own ideas about this. Some talk of love, the grand design, universal energy, a higher power, the law of nature, the great I am, source, magic, the great mystery, Holy Spirit, the Great Spirit, Allah, etc., etc. Or for some people, it's just life itself. maybe even something that's extremely good or pleasing. Whatever the word divine means to you, I propose that growing into harmony with the divine can be a delightful thing to do. My Soul Matters group is always challenging me to grow in my understanding and awareness of myself and others. To live in harmony is to live in such a way that you enrich and complement each other. Together, you are more than any one of you would be on your own. One thing I know for sure, I am absolutely delighted to be a part of this loving, accepting community that is working together to help our world be a happier, healthier place for all. And actually, maybe after the service, maybe we could kind of get together, and I would love to hear your understanding, what you mean when you say, to the end that all may grow into harmony with the divine. Wouldn't that just be divine? Maybe it would be really delightful. Thank you.
Delight comes in a multitude of ways: reading, partaking in hobbies, meditating, spending time with family, friends, and in nature. My basket of delight contains music in any shape or form. Most importantly, delight can be the simple gifts that we receive each day if we are open to the possibilities that are right in front of us.
We come to this place to be seen, to see and to be seen, to teach and to be taught, to hear and to be heard. We're here together gathered to be in peace and in authenticity and intention. We come to this place to share our joys and sorrows. If you have a joy or sorrow to share, I now invite you to come forward and light a candle. You can share what's in your heart or on your mind in 1 or 2 sentences. You can share with a single word, or you can share in silence and simply light a candle. There is no. Oh, there we go. If you want to come back around here, that way they can see.
On the 13th, my son got married to a very beautiful, loving, wonderful person. I want them to have a lifetime of shared love and joy.
Congratulations.
This is a candle of joy for one of my very best friends who's been working on their doctorate degree for the last 7 years, and they just successfully defended their thesis last weekend, so I'm really proud and excited for them.
I light these remaining candles for the joys and sorrows that remain in our heart, in the silent sanctuaries of our hearts. Please speak these words with me. We hear your words. We hear your words. In all its heaviness. Let us take a moment to come fully into this place. Place your feet flat on the floor. Take a deep breath. Close your eyes. When you feel comfortable, relax into your chair. Allow your breathing to deepen beautifully. Soften your jaw. Melt. Notice an area that is tense and tight and embrace it and say, relax, it's okay. Relax. Let the bustle of getting here melt away. Come into this place of holiness.
We've been doing the meditative song, May Your Life Be as a Song. We'll do this one time through, and then we'll do it 3 times through in a round. Part 1, part 2, and part 3. Grace will play it through one time first.
These are 3 excerpts from Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret, by Judy Bloom. 11-year-old Margaret is on her own spiritual journey. Are you there, God? Well, it's me, Margaret. What would you think of me doing a project on religion? You wouldn't mind, would you, God? Well, I'd tell you all about it, and I won't make any decisions without asking you first. I think it's time for me to decide what to be. I can't go on being nothing forever, can I? I've been looking for you, God. I looked in temple, I looked in church, and today I looked for you when I wanted to confess, but you weren't there. I didn't feel you at all. Not the way I do when I talk to you at night. Why, God? Why do I only feel you when I'm alone? I have not really enjoyed my religious experiments very much, and I don't think I'll make up my mind one way or the other for a long time. I don't think a person can decide to be a certain religion, not just like that. It's like having to choose your own name. You think about it a long time, and then you keep changing your mind.
I was raised by loving parents and the Catholic Church to believe there was one God, one answer to every question, one right way to live. I never knew I could look for God in anywhere except the dead guy hanging on the cross, or the priest I had to confess my sins to, or in the building that was my Catholic church of my childhood. The objective of the adults in my life was for me to come into harmony with their one true divine. And I mostly stayed quiet and played along. I was a kid who aimed to please, even if it meant swallowing my questions. Disconnecting from myself was so much easier, especially for the adults. But I was a curious kid. I love to watch people interact, and I have the coziest memories of lingering at the adult holiday table long after all my little cousins were in the basement playing, just to be present while the adults gossiped and laughed and talked. I knew that somewhere around the coffee and the good desserts being brought out, the strain of time and distance would fall away, and my extended family would relax into their true selves. The sense of security and deep connection that came around those family tables was tangible to me as a kid. I would go to bed feeling completely whole. The other times I felt filled up as a kid was when I was alone in nature. There was a fairly large river running across the street and through the woods a little ways from my childhood home. Alone on that river's edge, I would challenge myself to notice the smallest things. I would delight in the reality that I was the only person on the entire planet to notice that twig, or those leaves, or that quiet ripple on the river. I felt so special, so connected to these small delights and to something much bigger than my 7-year-old self. It was only very recently when my kids and I started making our way through Judy Bloom's 1970s classic, Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret, I realized this deep sense of connection could have been the beginning of my own spiritual journey, if only I had known I could take one. My deep moments of connection did continue throughout my childhood, but by 11 or 12, I had so much anger towards God and towards church. I hated the routine of church, hated being forced to go, hated who I thought God had to be, and it drowned out all the rest. As I grew into a young adult, that anger became too big to carry, and it turned to apathy. Apathy allowed me to turn my back on all things religion. This apathy took me all through my teens and my college years, all the way through my early 20s. It was in that decade of life, through serendipity and my impending marriage, that I found my way to the UU tradition via All Souls in Kansas City. All Souls was my perfect first step back into religion. I was still plagued by deep emotional reactions to the words God, or heaven, or church, even spirituality. But luckily, those words were never once spoke at All Souls, and we never once read from the Bible. The services were structured with the liturgical routine that was familiar to me as a former Catholic, but the sermons were that of a college humanities course. And we were united under a beautiful secular covenant that deeply spoke to my soul. Goodwill is the spirit of this church, and service is its law, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. I loved attending. As Kevin and I, that's my husband, added children to our family who are sitting here in 2014, 2015, and 2017, we became even more committed to attending All Souls to give our kids a moral compass. Everything was going really well, smooth sailing. Everyone's spiritual needs were being met, and I had started the hard work of unpacking my religious trauma. I was completely blindsided when, in 2018, 2 of my 3 children began forming complete sentences. It was then that the questions started. Who is God? Where is God? Is heaven real? Where do we go when we die? I would feel a heat and a tightness of panic in my chest, my own religious trauma rearing its angry, confused head. I wanted to run from my children or just ignore their questions completely. I'm not sure how I answered those first few questions. My more evolved self of 2023 hopes I at least asked, "What do you think?" But I'm pretty sure I fired back, "Who told you about Jesus?" As you can imagine, the questions haven't stopped. In fact, they've only grown in number and in content. Playground conversations, messages they hear on TV, offhand conversations from family and friends. I'm not sure why 6-year-olds are discussing marriage equality at recess, but apparently it's happening. Then, in 2020, our family left All Souls to check out another UU church we had heard some totally awesome, really good things about. That's you guys. That first Sunday, in early January of 2020, we walked into this large sanctuary full of families and young adults. Things seemed really good, but then we sat down. We sat down and recited our covenant with our emphatic ending that all souls shall grow into harmony with the divine. And I became deeply uncomfortable. Who was this divine you speak of? And why do we have to grow into harmony with it? My guard was up. I felt like my 7-year-old self pressured to conform from a single sentence. Luckily, Rose gave a great sermon that day, and our kids felt welcomed in their respective classrooms, and my husband, Kevin, connected much more deeply with this community than All Souls. So we stayed. Fast forward 3 years, and when Marie approached our Soul Matters group with focusing the topic of delight on this one line from our covenant, I knew I was being called to do the hard work of reckoning with the divine. For years, my kids have been asking me different variations of this same hard question. And each time, I have been finding more true and honest ways to respond. I tell them, just because Grandma or Aunt Katie or Daddy or Quinn's mommy says or believes something does not mean they have to believe it too. They get to choose what they believe. And they get to keep choosing over and over again for the rest of their life. I tell them that it's okay to not know, and it's okay to change their mind. And yes, it can feel really uncomfortable to not know, especially when others around you are so sure that they know. And I let them in on my secret. Mommy doesn't know if there's a God or where we go when we die. Mommy still has lots of questions too. Excuse me. And then, just a couple weeks ago, while editing and rewriting this very sermon, something life-changing happened. I realized that over all the years, while I have been speaking these words of religious freedom to my own children, my 7-year-old self was also receiving the words and guidance she had needed so long ago. Every time I watch my own kids' minds and bodies fret over these big questions, I can feel her saying, "Yeah, what about God? Was that God I was feeling at the river? Was that God I was feeling with my family?" My honest and open-ended answers to both my kids and myself now sound more like questions. Tell me more. How does it feel to wonder? Who do you think God is? What does it feel like when you're happy? And now I realize my present-day words have set both my kids and myself free to find our own definition of the divine. So today, when my kids ask me what I believe, the most consistent answer I have is I don't know. I don't know what happens when we die. I don't know where we go or if there's a God. But I do know I am happy right now here with you. I remind them how much I love the mornings when we sit on the couch and watch the sunrise, or when my first zinnias bloom, or how wonderful it is to fall asleep to a good thunderstorm. I tell them that our life's little, daily, delightful moments are all the divine I need for now.
The work of this church depends on us, our generosity of time, wisdom, and financial resources. We invite you to give generously to support the ongoing work of the church. The offering will now be given and received in grateful appreciation of our shared values. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.
Sing along with us. I see trees of green, red roses too. I see them bloom for me and you, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. I see skies of blue and clouds of white, the bright blessed day, the dark sacred night, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. The colors of the rainbow, so pretty in the sky, are also on the faces of people going by. I see friends shaking hands, saying, how do you do? They're really saying, I love you. I hear babies cry. I watch them grow. They'll learn much more than I'll ever know. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Yes, I think to myself, what a wonderful world.
As we leave here today, I encourage you to become more aware of the ordinary moments of beauty and wonder that touch your life each day. May you go and savor the delight of these moments. Go in peace.